You are lowering a climbing partner and need to pass a knot on lower. Here are 2 ways to do that safely. Hello again, I'm Jason. We are heading down after a climb and we decide we need to A, lower a climber, and B, need more than the length of a single rope. Maybe we have an injured climber who needs to get down as fast as possible.
There we go.
Maybe we got our rope stuck on a previous rappel and had to cut free our remaining length. Maybe we are off route and are unsure of how far away the next rappel or lowering station may be. There are lots of reasons why we might want to perform a lower and have that lower be more than a single length of our rope. Assuming we have joined 2 strands, here's 2 ways we might pass a knot through the lowering system, along with a mention of circumstances that might make me choose one particular method over the other. If you want to learn more about joining ropes, you can check out a video we did on rappelling using 2 climbing ropes, or a climbing rope and tagline to get more into joining knots, as they can vary depending upon your ropes. There's a link in the description. First, let's assume we are lowering off a tube-style device with a fairly standard setup. But you can take a look at another video with another link in the description on different ways to set up a lowering system. We have the rope coming from our lowering climber, going through our tube device, out the break end, and up through a redirect, and then down to the belayer. The belayer has a friction hitch to help maintain control of the rope. Note that with a gree-gree, we are using essentially the same setup and with the same process steps. In our first method, we are going to create a load transfer hitch that is fully releasable. We stop before the rope joining bend can interact with our safety friction hitch. Now we tie a jam knot as a safety backup to allow us to go hands-free. We need to leave 60 centimeters or so of room between the catastrophe knot and the joining bend, as you'll see. Now we can use a long piece of cord and divide it in half. Taking the halfway bite of that cord, we can attach a friction hitch. Here, I'm using a clem heist. Taking the tails from that cord, we tie a Münter mule overhand. We have a short on how to tie this knot, and there is a link in the description. If you have really long tails, like I do, you can simply pass the tails all the way through the bite. However, I'm using the full knot here to coordinate it with that demonstration short. At this point, we're ready to move our lowering knot, and we start by lowering until our load transfer prusik takes the climber's weight. Now we can undo our friction hitch and re-add it below the joining bend but above the catastrophe knot. Next, we can remove the rope from our device and then re-thread the rope into the device with the joining knot now on the climber's side, but with the friction hitch and catastrophe knot still on the belayer's side. At this point, we need to reload the climbing rope, so we can undo our mule overhand and lower off of the Münter we created until the climbing rope takes the load again. Now, we can clean the load transfer hitch, remove our catastrophe knot, and continue the lower. As you can see, this system is pretty involved and is something I might use if I were needing to lower a partner that weighs a lot more than me, as I have more control when using my device. Or I might use it if I have to do many lowers, but with adequate time to do so, and I don't want to use the second method, which twists the rope. Because the second method, which was taught to me by an ex-military friend of mine, is to just lower off of a Münter and then pop the knot through. With a lower off of the Münter, you'll have less friction and you'll twist the rope, but it is a lot faster. So this is a good method when speed is of the essence. Here we simply have our climber on a Münter through a wide HMS carabiner and with a backup friction hitch. We need to get our friction hitch on the other side of the knot. And we need to manage the catastrophe knot carefully because it could just pull through the carabiner, so we can actually clip it to our belay loop. Now we need to add another friction hitch below the joining knot and above the catastrophe knot, allowing us to remove the original friction hitch that was in the way of the joining knot. Depending upon the size of your knot in relation to your carabiner, the knot could get stuck as many as 3 times. I tied a big knot, 2 stacked overhands, in order to demonstrate how to deal with this eventuality. The knot may get stuck at the first pass-through of the carabiner, at which point we grab the tails and push them through to the other side of the carabiner. Then, reaching around the carabiner, we can grab those tails and pop the knot through. It may get stuck at the second pass, too, and we repeat the process. Finally, it may get stuck on the rope of the hitch itself. If we start to see some gap develop in that hitch, then we can take the tails of the knot, push them through the rope gap, grab the tails from the other side, and pull them through just as we did with the sticking points on the carabiners. This is fast, but we've added in other risks as a trade-off for that speed. One risk that we've added is the risk of getting our fingers caught in the process. So we need to make sure we do 3 things to mitigate that risk. First, make sure our friction hitch is engaged and under tension before we try to pop the knot through. We don't want any sudden system movement. Second, we push the knot tails through without putting any part of our hand into the carabiner or the expanding gap in the hitch. Third, when we pop the knot through, we, again, to make sure no part of our hand is in a position to get pinched, reach around to the other side of the system to grab those tails. Do you use lowering rather than rappelling from time to time? Let us know under what circumstances in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and share if you want to support us. For more information, you can go to our website at www.shortguysbetaworks.com. You can check out that video I mentioned on 3 different lowering systems, or you can check out our entire rock climbing safety series. We'll see you next week and keep on getting more out of that big outside.